In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to find the liner size and volume for your pond and waterfall, starting from the frame of your pond and waterfall in the Design It All app. The first thing that I want to talk about is the design of the structure I have here. This 2x2 square section is going to be the waterfall for our pond and waterfall, and on the top layer of that you'll see that a board is missing. This is simply to create a spillway for our waterfall and direct that water flow into our pond. Below that will be the splash zone for our waterfall into our pond, and a big concern for some people when installing a waterfall for their pond is a loss of water over time from that splashing of the water. So what we've done with this design is taken the boards back a little bit, so hopefully we eliminate all of the water loss from any splashing of the waterfall. Now that we've discussed the design, let's bring the depth of our pond down a few feet by using the dig tool on the action bar. With this selected, we can hover over our pond to highlight it yellow, and each time we click with this tool selected, it'll dig down 1 foot of depth. So right there I dug twice, and now I have a depth of 2 feet into the ground. The value that you see above that dugout section is simply the amount of soil that was taken out of your pond. So if we go over to the waterfall section here, right now it's empty, but we want to fill this up partially with soil. If we leave this empty, when we go to calculate our liner size, it'll actually calculate that liner as if it were going to go all the way to the bottom of the structure. So if we go back to our action bar and we select the dirt tool, each time that we click this, it'll fill in 1 level of dirt, and each level is simply 1 layer of boards. So for this waterfall, I'm going to fill it up twice, or 2 levels, with soil. And that'll allow us, so when we calculate our liner, it'll only go down to this dirt level as opposed to all the way down to the bottom of our waterfall. So now with our pond dug out and our waterfall filled with some dirt, let's go and put water and a liner on these sections. So back to the action bar once more, we'll select the water tool and we'll click to put a liner and water in our waterfall section, and then we'll click our pond to fill that with water and line it as well. So an easy way to find out the volume and liner size of your pond is to just go back to the action bar one last time and select that small lowercase I, or the info tool. When we take this tool and hover over our pond section, it'll give us 4 different values. So the first one, the soil value, is simply how much soil we've added to that section. So we only took out soil, so that volume of soil will actually be 0 in this case. The volume of water for our pond is given here as well. This is very important when selecting the pump. In later versions of this app, the pump for your volume size will automatically be calculated in the part list, but if you're watching this and the pump isn't automatically calculated for you, just write down this gallon size so that you can select the appropriate pump. The dig value is simply the amount of soil that was dug out of this section, and this was the value that we were seeing before we lined the pond area and filled it with water. And then the last value is the liner size, and this will tell you the amount of liner you'll need for the pond section. Now in many cases you'll actually need a separate liner for your waterfall section, so if we take this info tool up to our waterfall section, we'll see that it actually gives us different values. So in this case, we'll actually need a 6x6 liner just for our waterfall. And again, it'll give us the amount of soil that we put in here, so 3.42 cubic feet, and the volume of just our waterfall section. So when selecting the pump, you want to make sure you add in both of the volumes from your waterfall section and your pond. So in this case, it's 745 gallons in our pond and about 26 gallons in our waterfall. So if we add these together, we get about 770 gallons. So that'll be the value that we use when we select our pump for our pond and waterfall. So now that we have all these values, the last thing that I want to talk about is selecting the right amount of tubing. So a good rule of thumb when positioning the pump inside your pond is you want it to be as far away from your waterfall as possible so that you have maximum circulation of your water. So in this situation, I would put the pump just around here at the back of our pond, and we want to kind of eyeball how much tubing we'll need based on that positioning. So right now there's no good way to measure that distance in the app, but if we go down to that green bar all the way to the left, you'll see the show grid option. This will automatically be selected on when you enter the app, but if for whatever reason you have it off like me, you simply turn that on and it'll put a grid down over your waterfall and pond. And each one of these squares is 1 square foot. So if we go to our layer tool and bring this up so it's above our waterfall, overlaid on top of it, we can simply count these squares to see just about how much tubing we might need to get that tubing from our pump to our waterfall. So if we count here, we'll need about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10, 11, 12, about 13 to 14 feet. And if you notice when I was counting, it wasn't the most accurate. Of course, the path that you count on the design app won't always be the same as how you line your tubing in reality, but a good rule of thumb is to always have about 5 feet of extra tubing. It's never wrong to have excess tubing. You can always cut it off if you don't want it laying around, but more is a much safer option than less in this case. That's all that I have for this video. I hope you found this helpful, and have a great day.